No, we're live. Okay. Welcome to the Board of Public Service, May 2nd meeting. Will you call roll, please?
Chair Levinson,
Here.
Commissioner Livermore,
Here.
Commissioner Mertz,
Here.
Commissioner Nicotovi, Commissioner Hartley,
Here.
Councilmember Harrington.
Yes.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start real quickly with, we have two petitioners here, so we're going to start with 2123 West Street. This is the electric inspection that we held over from last month that we had tabled. The owners have presented a check that they had paid for the electrical inspection, and I received word from the code office, who is unable to be here today, but that the inspection was done and the check covers that time period that it had to be done, so those bills should never have even been billed. So they have relinquished that bill and it's null and void, so you do not have
I
those.
make a motion that we agree to the appeal for this amount and vacate those two electrical inspections.
Perfect,
Second.
perfect. Saved you some money, right?
It's something, thank you.
Okay, did you wanna add anything to that before we move on and make a vote?
We just wanted to add that, like, when we were here last time, Eric and Michael's name unfairly was dragged through the mud, and we were presented as not having done the things we were supposed to do. But after the meeting, the code enforcement office had found they had misfiled our papers, and we had in fact done the things we said we had done, and that they said we didn't do, that we were fined for, and the motion was made to keep those fines.
They didn't find all the papers.
They found most of them.
They found some
Okay,
papers.
why don't you just reappeal those, and we'll
I don't think they
revisit-
can reappeal though, once the,
They can if it was an error on the part of the code enforcement office. So let's get everybody back here and find out what the real story is. Because we can always, we did that when we made the decision on Frederick Street about the water.
oh,
bill,
yes.
That they came back and said, or no, it wasn't, it was about it was an administrative fee.
Administrative fee.
And we are allowed to revisit it if documents are found.
Do you have those copies of those documents and everything that you're talking about?
Not honest, because that wasn't
Well,
what was being
okay.
presented tonight.
Can you email me the invoice numbers that you're talking about? Which fees they were pertaining to? So this electrical inspection that we have on the table, we're going, once we make a vote, will be gone. But the other ones that we're talking about, that you're stating about, like specifically tell me, the boiler, whatever it is, and then I will email John to get that all together, and then we can talk about reappealing it.
Okay.
I mean, I know that's more of your time, but trying to help you out, get everything straightened out.
In the long run, it's worth it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, of course. All right, so we'll take a vote now.
Chair Levinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Mertz,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartley.
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I just want to put my note. Okay, sorry. Okay. And then we have. Okay. Nope. 173 Chestnut's not here. Sorry. This is on the list. Sorry. Okay. How are you?
I'm okay.
Sorry. Okay. So, this is 5860 Market Street. Sorry. 5860 Market Street. So, the request was sent, an email sent asking us to please appeal the sewer portion of the city water and sewer bill, which is $270. The property is located at 5860 Market Street for the former Stella Luna building. The plumbing was disabled and no wastewater goes into the sewer lines, according to the owner. And in addition to that, very little city running water gets used. The building has been vacant for almost 5 years. Thank you for your consideration respectfully. So I did get a breakdown of the water usage. There was water, everybody should have that, right? There was water usage this year, 800. January to February, I'm going to assume, sorry, I assumed you had it. I'm assuming that's when there was an issue with the pipes, 22,000 gallons and change.
Recently, that,
Wait, 58 Market Street, yeah,
a couple years ago, we had an issue.
23. And then every month thereafter is 100 gallons here or there, or 200 gallons here or there. So the bill that you receive is a minimum only bill. We typically don't adjust a minimum only bill. It's the water sewer is every building that's in the city of Oneonta gets that minimum, whether you use it or not, which covers our costs and fees to run the business, basically.
Right, well, that's why I was here to ask, you know, if you could make an exception. It's been closed, and I have some paperwork here. Sherry told me to bring some evidence, and I didn't know what to bring, so.
Thank you, that's okay.
So it only shows that, you know, we were paying ever since we closed up in 2019 of August. We kept paying, and back then it was during the pandemic, and it was hard to get anybody here. You know, but I connected with, I think it's Gail that's downstairs, and Marilyn,
Yeah.
and so they were nice enough to put me on a monthly billing. So we kept paying, and, you know, honestly, I understand, you know, the minimum, but there's no water being used there, there's no sewer. The water, I was told, well, why don't you shut it off, and we can't, because our alarm system, the sprinkler system, you know, God forbid there's a fire, maybe it might be the answer. Yes.
So she claims that you pay a minimum fee, even though you don't use it. What is the actual dollar amount for the minimum fee?
518.
$518?
Yes.
No, the minimum fee is
No,
$270 for the
270.
sewer.
Oh, well, I thought you meant the whole bill.
The whole bill's
Well,
$5.
he's paying minimum for the water and the,
That's water and sewer.
Water and sewer is 518. I'm just asking to take the sewer
that's per year, is that
per
correct?
year, yeah.
And the sewer is?
270.
So what is the water usage that's happening? Is this leaks?
What are you talking about?
So every month there's, do you see the breakdown, 100, 100, 300, 100?
Yeah, that could just be, I mean, I go there every day to check it out.
Isn't that to maintain the sprinkler system?
That thing has to get filled, I'm assuming, you know? I don't know how that works, so I'm gonna be honest with you.
I don't either.
So, you know, 100 gallons is nothing, you know? But I will have it checked out to make sure that's not leaking, but at least that's the water part, you know, the water part, I think,
Right, but the water, so how our billing works is the water and sewer are combined. Ginny, do you wanna explain it a little more than I can?
Sure. Every property that is hooked up to the main, does not matter if it's hooked up to the house. or the
Correct.
Property, but they have to be hooked up with the main, gets the minimum bill for the water and sewer. Those minimum bills is what supports the infrastructure for the water and sewer departments. And you know, and then the usage itself for the water gets added on for the water and sewer bill. For sewer billing, we could bill the property owners based on assessment, based on square footage, based on any type of approved mechanism that's approved by New York State to bill for sewer services. However, city code has chosen to use the water usage as the basis for billing to support our sewer fund. And every property, even properties that have demolished the house.
Correct.
But they have not disconnected from the main, still get the minimum bill because they're hooked up to the main. And they're not getting any water, they're not using any service, but because they're hooked up to the infrastructure, because to really disconnect, you have to excavate.
For instance, the houses on Richards Avenue are all still hooked up to the main and will get another bill next year, the minimum bill, because the mains are still there and structures will go back up.
There's, give an example, there's a house on River Street where the house was demolished, but they're still getting the minimum bill because they're still hooked up to the main.
Yeah, but nothing for nothing, how fair is that to any of these people? And that's my point. But the reason I gave everybody the bills, just so you know, ever since we closed though, we weren't paying the minimum. We were paying like, $1,556.
But you do have water being used, though, that you're saying, like I said, I don't know anything about sprinkler systems, but the water is going to the sprinkler system, you're saying, and that's where it comes from?
I know that we had, who are the names? Firefighter, I don't know the guy's name. At one point, they had, one of the gaskets had to be replaced, but that was, a year and a half ago.
So there's a holding tank then for water for the sprinkler system that you have in the building?
I think so, I really don't know. I don't know much
I
about
think
this.
they have to exercise when you have a sprinkler system, you just have to exercise it to make sure it works, so water is coming into the building to the sprinkler system, it's usually not on the meter because it's,
Yeah, but if the water's going into the building at 100,000 gallons, where is it going?
oh, where was 100,000
I mean,
going?
100 gallons.
Oh, 100 gallons, that's just exercising the sprinkler system, it's not going into the sewer. When you exercise the sprinkler system, there's no pipe going back into the sewer. It just circulates the water that's in, as you say, a holding.
Wait,
Yeah, but then where would the water, there wouldn't be
doesn't
enough
make
water. That
It's
doesn't, yeah.
still in there. It's in the holding tank.
wait. Every month, it's roughly 100 gallons of water for a year
That's
and a
because
half.
the minimum we
The-
measure is 100.
No, the meter shows from let's go from March 23. The meter was 1,967,800, and 1 year later, the meter is
Month later.
1,969,200. So the total meter change in the course of 1 year is not negligible.
No,
It's roughly 100 gallons per.
There are
so
some that are 200.
Somebody is using 100 gallons, roughly 100 gallons per month, and it can't be going into the sprinkler
Right.
system because that means there's 1,200 gallons that is sitting in the sprinkler system. You don't have a tank to hold 1,200
Yeah,
gallons.
1,200 gallons, I'm confused.
Well,
So 100 gallons a month on average is what he's saying. So you have 100 gallons from February to March, April to May. May, there's nothing. June, 100. July, 300. August, 100. September, nothing. October, 100. Then 200. Then so he was averaging out, saying like about 100.
If I did my math correctly, from March of 23 to March of 24, the meter shows, I can't subtract anymore. 1,500 gallons. I'm on your side. The meter shows that much water went in past the meter. Now, the claim is that it's into the sprinkler system and didn't come out into the
Well-
sewer.
No,
It
but
has to
we
go
also have a holding tank downstairs for the sewer. That's, the size, it's a, what do they call it, like a sump pump or
So
something?
that's,
the copper has
So it's
been
probably in
stolen
there.
from the restaurant, that's all the copper piping, so there's no piping.
that doesn't,
connecting this.
why does the meter show that you use 1,500 gallons of water in the course of 1 year?
I mean, the place is big too, it's at 7,000 square feet worth of pipes and everything. And like I said, in the basement, cause we dug the basement to put the bathrooms and storage. The basement, we have a huge tank that the bathrooms, everything from the bathroom goes there and it shoots it out to the sewer. But that's not, that tank can hold a few hundred gallons, more than a few hundred, it's huge.
The meter shows that between March of 23 and March of 24, 1,500 gallons of water went in past the meter into your building. I'm actually in your favor, I'm just trying to get these people to understand there's something strange here.
Well, there is, especially since all
The
their
meter-
copper
the
was
meter-
stolen.
See, I'm here, you gotta also look back at these bills. While I was closed, I was paying as if I was open. I was paying $1,500 as if I was open, not the minimum of $581. And back then, I couldn't get a hold of anybody, so I kept paying them.
Everything was
No, we don't, we have the numbers back then. That's a separate
That's
issue.
this
21.
one.
It's 551.
Okay,
That's
so
minimum.
someplace you have the meter reading so we can see whether you're using water or not?
I don't have it, unless, you guys have it.
2021. Same.
Well, that seems like a separate appeal, because right now you're appealing the sewage, and the data that we have indicates that you're someplace, in the past year, 1,500 gallons of water went into your building. Now, you're claiming, well, there's no copper pipes and da-da-da.
Jenny, can you help me a little bit? So Mr. Avanzato brought forth these statements from the city of Oneana that are dated year 2021, a bill number, and then it's 561 is the amount that was paid. And then there's year 2021 again, and it's 681.
And that is because his usage went over the minimum, if it was not the minimum bill, so,
So 56108 is our minimum, and then the overage is the 681 on,
No, the minimum has gone up $20, $10 for water and $10 for.
Correct.
I wanna say for the past, at least the past 3 years. So it's 518 now, last year it was 498, the year before that was
I
478,
see.
the year before that was 458. So anything above those numbers means that he had more than 37,000 gallons of usage, for the year. I can go downstairs and actually get the history, but if I could just add something for your consideration
Mhm.
before you vote.
yes.
If you agree to waive the minimum bill on this particular sewer bill, or any sewer bill, you are going to be opening yourselves up for everybody else who has a reason that they're not using their sewer in the same capacity as their water to ask for their sewer bill to be waived, or even in the other direction. The minimum bill is established to support the infrastructure costs of getting the infrastructure to all of the places throughout the city. So I just wanna stress that this will be a unique decision if you decide to waive a minimum bill. But I can go downstairs and I can actually get the history going back to 2012 for you if you'd like to see it.
Mr. Avanzato, did you understand her explanation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Are you willing to accept the fact that we probably cannot accept your appeal for the sewer problem?
Well, yes and no, you know, at the same time, I go back to the past 5 years, I was paying,
Well, okay, so that's a separate issue. We unfortunately don't have the records for the past 5 years, and maybe we need to get those. Are you willing to make a separate appeal that somehow you've been overbilled for the past 5 years?
No,
I don't
can't
think
do that.
it's
Past the time.
yeah, and that was.
I'm just trying to find out what would make him feel like he didn't get it.
Well, I feel like it's
I'm ready to deny, I'm ready to
trying to
move,
split the water and the sewer.
I'm ready to move deny your appeal for the change in the sewer.
Are you making that motion, Mr. Harley?
I'd make that motion now. I just want Mr. Avanzato to understand,
No, I understand it.
if you have a separate issue about somehow you've been billed in the past,
Yeah, but I just heard that they're also,
Oh.
we can't go back.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table, we need a second. I'll second the motion, if no one else can second it.
And I think this is a unique situation in that, the property itself has been vandalized to such a degree that all of the copper piping inside the building has been removed, and therefore there is no access from the water meter to the sewer. There's no piping inside except to the sprinkler
So-
system. So, you know, I don't think this is opening the door to every property that's vacant and may, wanna have their minimum, eliminated. I think this is a unique situation that this particular property has been vandalized, and therefore, it would be worth it to allow this appeal to go forward, but that's just me.
well, let me ask. The claim is that your sprinkler system still works. Has it been vandalized?
There's sprinkler, as far as I know, it works. Yeah, you
Okay.
know, I mean, if there's
So
a fire,
somehow there's water going into this place. How do we know that it's, I can understand Marjorie's concern that if the copper wire's been vandalized,
Yeah, we
water's
had,
going in. Do we also know that water's not going out?
what do you mean as far as going out?
Going to the
Going to
sewer.
the sewer.
Systems.
I don't know, I really haven't checked that out, you know,
I
I
understand.
came here thinking it was easy enough to try to work this out, to say, you know, the water, I'll pay because of my sprinkler system. The sewer, I figure, you know, we don't use, so I thought it was kind of a fair deal kind of a thing.
Well, apparently you're paying for the hookup.
Yeah, well, like I said
If
before,
I
it's
had a
unfair to these people, Richards Avenue and the other, you know, it's unfair to the citizens of Oneonta to be paying, I mean, these people had their houses blown up, you know, and they still have to pay. I mean, I don't know, that's my 2 cents.
Well, they didn't get those bills yet. That'll be next year's appeals that we will be seeing, but,
You know what I'm
but
saying?
I
I
understand what
mean,
you're saying.
that's
I agree that that's a different situation, and as much as I sympathize with you because of everything that's gone on with you, especially the business closing, which I'm not happy with, because I loved your food, there is water coming into the building, there's water being used. My suggestion is that you check that it's not leaking, because I don't think that if the water's
Well,
going
it's
into a
not.
sprinkler system, into a sprinkler system, into a holding tank, that holding tank has to get emptied somehow. Where does it get emptied to?
The pipe that goes into the sprinkler system is separate. I mean, there's this huge pipe that goes just to the sprinkler system, so I think that's all set. It's the other one that gets metered, I believe. Okay, that's the one that goes to everything else.
But that's what's showing, is that whatever is metered is
Well,
being used
Some-
somewhere.
Something is
So that's a
used
concern for you.
1,500 gallons in the past from
I mean, I could-
March to March.
I could see that large amount, 22,300 gallons, is when they ripped all your copper out and stole it, and you had leaks everywhere. I mean, that I can understand,
That was
but
one of the vandalisms. That
Yeah.
was one of,
just disgusting, crazy.
but again, I'm just trying to sit here to try to see, you know, what's fair. I know you have issues to try to straighten out with somebody else coming in, but I think like Mrs. Merksig said, this is a different situation. This is not, you know, I could have been here 5 years ago, and I tried calling, you know, and back then I couldn't get a hold of anybody. Finally got a hold of Maryland, and I found it, and I kept paying. Whatever they told me the bill was, I kept coming out. Every month you see the thing, $200, I kept paying for it. And at that time, you know, I didn't know if that was the correct amount. I felt like I was still being charged for when I was open, for water usage, because I used to pay, I'm gonna say anywhere between $1,200 to $1,600 a year when we were open. We used a lot of water, right? You got a good deposit. So at that point, COVID happens, which was 8 months after I closed, and I couldn't get a hold of anybody to try to appeal or this and that. So all I did was pay, just like, you know, we still pay the taxes. Every month I paid $800. They put me on a payment schedule, so we still pay for our taxes.
Appreciate that.
So, I mean, you know, look, Vinny's loud, but, you know, he's also fair. You know, we try to be fair. And this is a situation where, you know, you guys have to look at things different. You can't just look at them all the time as, you know, black and white. And
I understand. Again, the water's going somewhere. In my brain, even though you have the water coming into the sprinkler system, it doesn't just keep sitting there and building and building. It would overflow at some point. So it's got to go out somewhere. It's got to be expelled somehow. And how would it be expelled except through the sewer system? I mean,
you
it's
know,
not going into the
I
restaurant,
didn't do
so
my homework because I didn't know
Yeah.
how this all works, you know.
I understand.
Honestly.
yes,
Do you want some information on
yes,
sprinkler systems?
yeah, please, because I don't know anything about them.
Sprinkler systems do not drain into a sewer.
Okay,
Sprinkler systems have their own drain that normally goes outside of the building. They don't, because you can't drain back into the sewer. It goes against city Oneonta codes.
okay, so it comes into the building through our meter and it goes out.
Yeah.
So,
It does not, it has its own separate drain. Most of them, if you look at it outside of the building, you'll see some type of drain on the outside of the building, because when you have to test, you have to run water through the sprinkler system.
okay,
It's called a test port, so you can watch through a gauge, make sure that they're working the right way, and you gotta have a drain expel it outside. Because you could theoretically have contaminants. That's why you also have backflow preventers and all that stuff, is so you can't backflow to the city system. I don't know what system he has, I'm not saying that anything, I don't wanna think that I'm trying to.
but typically that's how they work.
Yeah, cause you can also have a dry system which pumps air into it.
But we have both.
So if you have a dry system, you have water, there's a valve, and you have air that keeps a flapper down, typically is how it works. If for some reason you lose your pressure or something like that, then you will flood your dry system with active water. Depending how big your system is, how many degrees on your pipes, and how much run you're making, and stuff like that, to fill up whatever. If, so that's
No,
trying
it's
to.
giving us some information, I appreciate that. I mean, I don't know how much, I still, go ahead.
It's interesting, but it doesn't go to the point that for some reason, the city has decided he has to pay for the hookup. Now, I understand for what, I don't know this and that, you can't get unhooked, is that the problem? This seems like a problem with the city code, somebody in the city ought to figure out how we can unhook this man, so he doesn't have to pay. But he doesn't wanna get unhooked because he wants his sprinkler system to work.
Correct.
So he's gonna have to,
Then the insurance won't pay.
you're gonna have to pay for the city hookup. Whether the water goes in or not, it doesn't matter whether you use any water, you're hooked up to it because you want to.
And the water part, like I said,
Well,
I have no problem.
But what we're saying is it goes hand in hand, is what he's trying to
The city
say.
has decided uniformly, whatever water you use, we will pretend that it goes into the sewer. And it doesn't, there doesn't appear to be an exception for that. And the problem is, well, if we do, it's the old first grade argument, well, if we do it for you, we're gonna have to do it for everybody else.
Oh, not necessarily. I mean, like I said, this is a special situation, and I just learned this from Scott now, that I don't even know where it drains. I have no idea. I mean, they put it in 25 years ago, it cost $150,000 to put the system in, and you know.
Well, he described several systems. Does he know for sure that it doesn't go into
No,
the?
we
Right.
don't. I mean,
Or that
I
it was
don't
put in
know.
25 years ago and it wasn't done properly, to be honest with you.
I said, yeah, but they inspected,
Right.
Syracuse, something or other, they come and inspect it.
Well, I appreciate the information. Thank you, Scott. We have a motion on the table to deny the appeal. So we want to take a vote? No, any more discussion from the count? Okay, go ahead.
Chair Levinson,
I'm denying it, yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Merced,
No.
Commissioner Nicotobi,
May I abstain, please?
Commissioner Hartley.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you so much. I would honestly figure it out, like make sure that it's just, this usage is just your, fire,
Well, I don't know how I'd figure it out, it's kinda like.
I mean, it's pretty consistent, except the only concern that I have is, like I said, there's some that are 300 and some that are 200. Most of it is 100 is consistent, but just in case that maybe, I don't know, I'm sure you have the mains shut off into the building that there's no copper in it,
Oh,
but
yeah. Well,
So.
not the main that goes to what are you talking about, the water?
inside the building, like your faucets or, yeah,
All those things are shut off.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
They're gonna be digging up that area, so, hopefully that they can figure it out, because, when it rains or when we had the flood, everything came to me,
Came into the building,
so.
yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we also have 41 Dietz Water and Sewer Bill Appeal. This was one that we held over from last month, the table to this month. The DPS did go in and inspect, and they found leaks inside the building. 2 sinks were leaking, a toilet was leaking at the time. I believe this is the property that they couldn't get into one of the spaces as well. So DPS went in and found, when they inspected, they identified 2 sink leaks that had slow leaks, and a toilet in time to tan was continuously running. They informed the owner that if he wanted it tested, that we would have to send it out to be tested, and told him to contact Mary Ann when he asked about costs and the test, to test the meter, and schedule a time to replace the old meter with a new one if he does decide to do the testing. I haven't heard that they wanted to replace this. Did you hear anything different? No, that they didn't want to test it. So there were leaks in the building rather, excuse me, and they were at the places of business and toilet bowl.
I think the timing was a little strange. He claimed it was because of something or other.
Correct.
I
So
looked it up.
originally you weren't here for that meeting. Originally, he was saying that we flushed our water lines and that it created sediment, which created his leaks because they clogged the area. But the timelines didn't match up. It was April 17th that we finished flushing, and it wasn't until June that there was an issue with his water leaks originally being seen. They had found that they had investigated and found there was some leaks and they fixed them, but I also recommended that he make a claim against the city if he so felt that that was really what it was. But we tabled it to see, we had DPS go in to see if there was a problem with the meter or if it was leaks within the building. Okay? So
I make
that,
a motion that we deny the appeal.
Thank you.
And reiterate the claim against the city.
and I'll second it. Any discussion? Okay, can you call the vote, Carrie, please?
Chair Levinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Mertzig,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicky Toby, Commissioner Hartley,
Yes.
passes.
Oh, could we add to our communication that he could have a payment plan? Because it's quite high, so he could have a payment plan.
Yes.
If that would be, I mean,
Now, will you reach out to him, Ginny, like your office will? Or do you do
We
that?
send a decision letter, I can, if you wanna just send me a little blurb to throw into the letter, and then
Perfect.
it's in one spot.
Thank you,
sorry, I didn't
ladies.
include that in my.
Thank you. I didn't think of that either. Thanks, Marge. Okay, then we have 173 Chestnut. That was also held over from last month. DPS was to check the meter to help locate any leaks that the owner might have.
This is a lady who couldn't get into her apartment because the
173.
occupants wouldn't let her in 24 hours. I believe.
Yes.
And we suggested she give them notice and let the
Yes,
city
this
know.
is the one that was getting high usage cards, but nothing was done. So we had DPS go in and check it. I don't know that I honestly have an answer on that.
Yes.
I do? I do.
You have two procedures, one.
Oh, yes, Bart. Yes. I don't know why I don't have it in my thing there.
I make a motion that we deny her appeal under the same thing, and in her case, also offer a payment plan.
I think this is what we seconded.
Yeah, I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, call the roll.
Chair Levinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore, Commissioner Mertzig,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicky Toby, Commissioner Hartley,
Yes.
passes.
And the last on our list is 26 West Street. We are going to, I'm going to make a motion that we table that till June. The owners could not be present today. That's for a local agent designation.
I make a motion that we table the appeal for 26 West Street administrative fee for the local agent designation.
Thank you. Call roll.
Chair Levinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Mertzig,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicky Toby,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartley,
Yes.
Thank you. We have to approve our minutes from last month first.
Before you ask a question,
Yeah.
so I understand now that somehow people cannot disconnect from the water of the city? Is that,
So if the, oh, go ahead, Jenny.
You can disconnect from the water, but what has to happen, it has to be disconnected from the main, not just from your house. So that means excavation has to be done, DPW has to be there to disconnect the valve. The reason it's in the code that way is because if there is
Yes,
a
thank you
leak
for reminding me.
underground, the city wants to know what valves are active and which ones are not active. And it's on the homeowner, they have to absorb the expense for the excavation. And that is why many of them choose not to do it, because it's a costly bill to excavate and,
someone mentioned Richard Avenue. Richards Avenue, is this gonna be a problem with those people?
Richards Avenue, I think we've had a discussion on, and because of the explosion, I believe you're going to be considering, different, appeals.
Options, right.
And if you want my opinion, I don't know if you want it now or then, but I do support those, because of the,
Extraneous
explosion
service, right.
situation, because everything has just been destroyed or non-functioning.
Yeah.
Several of those houses have actually been moved off their foundation.
Right.
So there is a plan to take care of this without,
Well, that is, I do not.
They have to appeal, it has to be appealed to our board, but then we can make the decision to to relinquish those fees.
Yeah, I do not have the authority to do that. I had to send the bill to all of the homeowners, and the ones that have called, we've told them that the
So
Board of
if-
Public Service has to
So
decide.
if they get the bill sent to them individually, they're gonna have to appeal?
Correct.
When we send the bill, can we tell them, by the way,
Well, they've already got the bill, they got the bill back.
They
in
got 'em.
March.
We had
Oh,
one,
no, next year when they get
next
the
year's
minimum.
we're talking about.
Oh, next year, next year, we haven't even considered next year.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to think on that.
I'm just concerned that we have somebody actually notify them, oh, by the way, you should definitely have to appeal this. So we don't get people to say, well, that was
Yeah,
5
'cause-
years ago, and now, I don't like to hear
The
that.
reason his bill was over the minimum these past 5 years is because his water usage was over 37,000 gallons for the year. So why it was over 37,000, I do not know.
I think this is the
Yeah,
Mr.
leaks.
Avanzado who has quite a bit of holdings in the city, and I'm surprised that he didn't know anything about these things. I
So,
was not impressed.
yeah.
I'm sorry I can say that.
okay, so before we approve our minutes, I have one that we're gonna see next month is 89 Clinton. I'm going to request that we have DPS go check that out and check the meter so that we're prepared for and not have to wait another month. Let's just do it now if we're able to do that. So do I have to have a motion to that? Is that my motion? I'm giving you my motion, I
That
guess.
should be your motion.
So that's my motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Cause I think we should be doing that automatically, if there's a question. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have to send our people to every single
Correct.
appeal, but I think when there's a question, especially his question,
Yes.
I think we ought to send our people out and then we don't have to wait.
Right, that was my logic, is can we do this?
When does our 60 days end, our appeal
Uh,
time end?
The date of the bill was March 12th. March 12th.
I feel like it was
So,
May 15th.
May 12th, so this is the end of the appeal period.
May 15th.
Oh, May 15th.
With holidays and the other, 'cause
Okay, all right, so
we
May
track to make
15th.
sure when we get them, yeah,
Did you say it wasn't during the time?
people are still good for another, just shy of 2 weeks.
And if you don't mind, I would just like to
Yeah.
share with the board that any customer, town or city, we always offer payment plans if they need it. We also offer prepayments if they need it. And so we try to work with the customer as much as we can.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion by myself in March for 89 Clinton to have the meter tested and DPS visit. Any go ahead, about this one or something different?
No, I'm sorry, I need to tell you something.
Okay, any discussion? Can you call a roll, please?
Chair Levinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Mertzi,
Yes.
Commissioner Nikki Toby,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartman.
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ginny.
Today, we received a $22,000 check that finished paying off Melody Village water payment
Wow,
of the town.
that's great.
Wonderful,
So I thought you guys were good.
that's really,
I've been communicating with him almost on a monthly basis. Where's your $1,000?
Where's your money?
Where's your $1,000?
in fact, more than half of your gray hair
Yeah.
came from
That's
So
great.
anyway, Gail brought up the check.
You deposited right away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
years and years and years.
I'm saying this must be before my time.
Yes,
Way,
yes, way before your time.
way. Oh,
Well, thank you for
yay.
sharing that, Ginny. Thank you.
Yes.
That's great. Thanks for all your hard work.
Yeah, and also just so you know, Briglio 124 United Street Trailer Park.
Yep.
He's also on a payment plan.
Oh, good.
He appealed, you guys adjusted, you had me down, adjust on like a 3-year average.
Yep.
It still was quite a bit, so what he's doing, he's paying $5,000 every quarter.
Oh, that's great.
Along with his current bill.
Oh, good.
So that large bill is also on a payment plan. The one account that, I've only gotten one $5,000 payment from is from James Braden for the Celtic Motel. That bill is quite large.
Oh.
It's my understanding that we might be going to quarterly billing.
We may, once we upgrade the system, if we are looking at converting to a new software, which will be much smarter and much more efficient.
So how does that work with our
If we do
appeals?
that, right, because if you have 60 days to appeal your
Right.
water bill and you you get one every
Or-
90
right.
days. How's that go, can we change that?
Yes, well, we're gonna, if we end up doing that, one thing, we're going to have to change the code itself.
Right.
And we will all get together, brainstorm on the timing of how we're going to do things. The idea that we're having, our program figure out for us is, have a base charge. And of course, this will all need council approval. We would have a base charge. The base charge would be based on the size of your, I'm looking at.
Your pipe?
The size of the valve, the water valve.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The pipe, so if it's a 5/8 or a 1 inch or 2 inch or
It
a
depends on what
6
your
inch or
base is,
8
right.
inch. So we would have a base charge. I would like to make it divisible by 12, so that way each quarter I can bill 3 months, for the base charge. Then we would have a charge per gallon, for the water usage, and that way it's separated. So there's the base charge and then there's the water usage charge.
I have a question. So the meters are read every month.
The meters are read every month, however, we've got 3 billing systems. We have one annual.
Let me ask the question. It's not so much the billing, but if the meter is like an anomalous and shows a big reading, does the homeowner get notified of it?
Yes, we have a leak detection software, so we send out, high reading cards to them, and, so they're high consumption.
Right, high consumption, like this one that we just denied had 2 high consumption cards.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
no, 5 high consumption cards.
And he didn't get any notice?
They got high consumption cards, according to the email.
Oh, wait, you're right, I did see, Mary Ann sent us
According
those
to the
5.
email, they got a high consumption card in July, September, October, November, another one in November, and then one in February.
Yeah, originally she told me 2, and then she researched further and was able to find that there was 5. I forgot that.
So,
Well, that makes me feel better, like we're not doing something wrong.
Yeah, no.
These people are
well,
probably paying
it's
attention.
hard when you aren't allowed in, I mean, you better have a lease that allows you in your apartments.
Yeah.
Well,
In
New York
case
State
they're-
law allows you to go in there, you gotta give 24 hours on emergency. You can go in for an emergency without really any notice, but you gotta get 24-hour notice to your rental that you're coming in. So
Yeah, but they can't just go in.
I think this,
after 24 hours, you can go in.
I think
Oh,
this.
so
this
why don't
group-
homeowners know that?
She does know it. She told us, the lady we saw last month, she did tell us, oh, well, yeah, I have to give 24-hour notice. And I'm thinking, well, why didn't you give the 24-hour? Well, my leasers are their ornery people or something. She noticed, she just didn't want to do it. And so
Well,
we did it for
or
her
she thought
by
it was hard, right.
insisting that the city.
All right, thanks Ginny for all that info. Let us keep us posted. And then we need to approve the minutes. Anybody have any questions about the minutes from April 4th when Bonnie was here with us?
It didn't,
Because Carrie Ann had
it didn't
application.
mention that I yelled at this.
I had pneumonia then, I think. May not have been vacation.
No, you were on vacation
Was it
with your
vacation?
daughter. You were in
Okay,
Florida or something.
there we go. We were both together.
Yeah, you did get sick from it. We're good? I think I'll make a motion to approve.
Now, you get to do that?
She can make motions.
I can make a motion. You want to second it, Mr. Harley?
No, I don't think.
Yes.
When did you have situations where I ask for excuse, did you put excuse or absent?
We just put absent.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Do I have a second? Did you, Mark, or, okay. Thank you, Pastor Phil. Okay, roll call, sorry.
Chair Levinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore, Commissioner Mertzick,
Yes.
Commissioner Nikki Toby, Commissioner Hartley.
Yes.
Passed.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, these were all Bonnie's.
You were very good. Bonnie did a good job, yeah.
You, it's done, John, you guys will do it.
She was asking me questions like, you're supposed to help